It's a different world. Hey, then where you come from? Ooh, then where you come from?
Good evening and welcome once again to Rerise Podcast. I'm your host, T. Willard Fair. I want to talk to you this evening once again about things that are important in our own community. We always talk about our plight. We always compare our condition to where we are in relationship to where everybody else is. We never talk about breaking the cycle of poverty, in spite of, if not because of, racism. We spend all of our time blaming others for our conditions. We keep looking back, not taking advantage of what's in front of us. We say that we are free, but we keep allowing others to make us dependent upon them, and therefore we become less and less free. I think that part of our problem is that we don't really understand that once again, since we are free, we're in the greatest place this side of heaven. We're in a free enterprise system whereby your wisdom, your patience, your sacrifices, you can become not only famous, but rich. And you simply have to dare enough, to care enough, to make the sacrifices that allows you to be rich. I spent my time making sure that my parents did not waste their time educating me, making me understand that I could be whatever I wanted to be, that I did not have to be poor. I may be black, but I didn't have to be poor. And that poverty and being poor should not go hand in hand with poverty, being poor, and being black. I want to talk this evening with a young man who has inspired me to understand that you have to stay abreast of what's going on in the marketplace, that you must always be prepared to venture into the unknown, that in this free enterprise system, if you're not prepared to take risks, and if you're not prepared to understand that taking risks means that you're not going to be successful, but failing means that you're not going to be a permanent failure. I want to talk to Joseph Evans. He said, don't call him Joseph Evans, but I have to call him Joseph Evans before I call him the Black Crypto Master.
You can do that.
Welcome, Joseph. Good to have you with me.
Thank you very much.
How you been?
Real good. Like I said, I don't know if you know what you got yourself into.
Well, you don't know what you got yourself into.
Okay, all right.
So let's get it down.
A real good conversation.
Yeah, tell me. I got all these dollars in my hand. I can remember this was all I had. This is called currency.
Currency.
Yeah. Abraham Lincoln in 1865 said that this is going to be our tender of exchange. And we got these. You're in good shape. So we spend all of our time making sure that we got these or access to these, and we believe that this is going to be the legal tender of the future. Is that true?
No.
It's not?
No. Not that per se.
Not this per se.
Per se.
Okay.
Right. I mean, that's
what's the per se?
You know what I mean? That's something called fiat, right? We call it fiat.
F-I-A-T?
F-I-A-T, right? You know, legal tender in terms of instructed by the government, right? Like you said, by Lincoln. When it comes to fiat, right? What is the future of money, or how do we use money, right? And that's one of the things that we need to educate people on how to use money.
You got to get it before you can use it.
Of course. But we need to understand what it is.
Okay.
I don't think we understand truly what money is.
It's not a welfare check?
Or what? Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, that's
not a debit card?
No, absolutely not. I mean, a debit card, I mean, you have to put your money onto a debit card to then use it, right?
So I see everybody now with a debit card. Are they aware that they're paying money to use their money?
Probably not aware.
Probably not aware, right?
But I mean, that's probably hidden down in the fees somewhere. I mean, have you ever tried to withdraw money and you have to get an ATM fee? You know, have you ever used your bank account and had to get some type of fee or a service charge? You know, a lot of people have to go through that where they have to get charged to use their own money, right? But like I said, when it comes to fiat, when it comes to your dollars or your cash in your hand, it's just a tool, right? It's a tool to get something, or let's say barter, right? Back in the day, it was shells or stones,
or gold, or stone,
or gold,
silver,
right?
and also human beings.
And human beings at the same time too. Everybody wants to trade or barter something, or what is valuable to me may not be valuable to you, or vice versa, right? So, for instance, if you have a cow and they have a sheep, for instance, I want that cow. Do you need a sheep? We could possibly trade on that.
Make a deal.
Make a deal, right? But let's just say you don't want that sheep. Well, then I'm probably going to have to find another source or another asset or something to make
Gotta
that
find
deal.
something that's attracted to you in order for me to get what I want.
Exactly. So I'm going to come to you with, I guess, a few sticks and say, hey, but take this. You're going to look at me crazy. Now I want something that I can trust and something that maybe you have, and that's probably that in-between guy, that tool, right? And that's cash. You trust cash, I might trust cash, so we use cash to barter, pretty much, right? We don't have to use.
He who got the most cash
or
wins out in most of the bartering.
Pardon me?
He who has the most cash wins out in most of the bartering.
Usually, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I can outbid you.
Of course.
And I'll sustain you.
Of course. Because you might say, hey, I don't want to sell my cow. And I say, you know what? I have $500. Just sell me it. And you know it's only worth $200.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why? Maybe because you made a little bit more money than it was worth.
Okay. And maybe I'm willing to pay more for it because then I can take it and make more for it.
Yeah.
So maybe I know something that you don't know.
Absolutely.
About cow.
Absolutely. 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 But all we're talking about right now is simply bartering, right? In terms of things, right? If I need to get some things, a watch, jewelry, clothes, I need to go to the store and I need to pay for it, right? Or I can go to my friend and say, hey, listen, let me go to your closet and maybe I pay for something, or maybe I trade you my shirt. It's the exact same thing, you know? So with money, it's just more globally used, more globally trusted in terms of that cash. But when we talk about now in terms of the future, will it be the future? No, because right now we already know that cash isn't the future. I mean, if you go to the Bahamas, right, where I grew up, right now the penny, as you know, 1 cent piece, no longer exists. Can't find it. They got rid of it. Testing the market, testing how would it fare out if we had no coins. You probably don't notice right now. If you go to some of the banks right in the here states, right? If you go to some of the banks or the post office, you will see a sign that says coin shortage. Why do you think that is?
Why?
Because they're starting to get rid of the coins.
Why?
First off, cash is too heavy.
Okay.
Who's going to carry around a whole lot of cash? I mean, that's just been our problem for decades. It's all about solving problems and solving problems for the greater number of people. When you talk about the rich or you talk about people who have a lot of money, you want to move a lot of money. Even somebody like me, if I want to move $1,000, $2,000, I can probably put $1,000, $2,000 in my pocket. I want to move $10,000 or $100,000. I guess a little bit more complicated. I need a duffel bag, I need a truck. But we've been doing that for so long. I mean, that's just getting boring and inefficient. How are we going to move more money more efficiently and faster? You might say, okay, well, you know, I got PayPal. You know, I might have Cash App. May have Western Union. You may notice, especially with Western Union and things of that nature, you still have fees.
Yes.
Right? You have a processing time. You know, back in the day, it could have taken a day, it could have taken 2 days, it could have taken a week, whatever the case may be in terms of money transfer. Even just sending a wire across seas could take a long time and hefty fees. Like I said, if you want to move an asset, whether it's cash or let's just say gold, how are you going to move tons of gold? Because back in the day, you could get 1 for 1 for your dollar with gold. I want to trade it in. I want my gold. Here's the cash. I want my gold. And we know what happened with that. That was taken off the, of course, not goes down there. Now, when it comes to gold, you can't transport a whole lot of gold either. I can't transport it unless I have it all on my neck. And I guess that's why everybody wants to wear it on the neck and look all flashy, right?
That's right. That's right.
But
I got silver on the
yes, okay. But who wants to do that all day, every day? Who wants to transport all this gold every single day? Too much. So we need a lighter, more efficient way to do even that, or to transport that type of asset, right? And that's where we start talking about cryptocurrency. What is it? You know, what is it about?
But
Is it the future?
Is it? No. It's going to be heavy.
What's that? Crypto?
Yeah, crypto.
Now, for a lot of people, crypto is something you can't touch.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's an argument that, hey, I can't touch it, so it's not real. Right? But what is it? Okay? Now, when you talk about cryptocurrency has been around for a long time. People really do not know that. People do not know it's been around since the 90s.
Really?
Yeah. Just like, for instance, going to the moon, for instance, right? And, you know, you hear Elon Musk talking about SpaceX and going to Mars and going to the moon, and you're just getting so excited. But this has been since 60s, 70s. It doesn't matter the technology getting better. When I say cryptocurrency, or when we start talking about Bitcoin, right, and we start talking about the succession of money, for instance, right? When I was talking about all of the way that we use money right now, Western Union, everything right now pretty much is digital when it comes to money. 99% of the money out there is pretty much digital in terms of digital transactions. When you deposit it into your bank, it's now all digital. On your debit card, like you mentioned, is now digital. You're now spending it digitally. This problem is that it's still insecure. Right? The banks can still go with inside your bank account and take out your money. That has happened to a lot of people. Or you went to buy something and you got denied with your actual debit card. That's a problem, right? You know you have money and it's your money. Why can't I spend my money? Or you might get cut off. A loved one might cut you off from your own money, right? You might have an allowance, whatever case may be. They give you a debit card and they cut that debit card off, right? You may have your wages garnished or taxes, whatever the case may be, and you want to control your own money, right? So when we talk about cryptocurrencies and how does it benefit us, so how is it different than what you're used to, right? Now, because of technology, we can now build on money. We call it now programmable money, right? So now let me step back in terms of Bitcoin. Now we've been hearing a whole lot about Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrencies out there, whether it's Ethereum or Litecoin or these different things, but they're built on this technology that's called blockchain, right?
B
Block,
L-O-C-K.
B-O-C-K,
Okay.
chain, all right? And with this technology, it's simply a digital ledger that records transactions, all right? Now, with this actual transaction ledger, right? This ledger, I'm just trying to break it down a little bit more simply for us, right? And trying to understand this blockchain technology and Bitcoin and how does it relate. Now, with this blockchain technology, you're now able to verify these transactions and it's immutable. What I mean is you cannot erase it or go back and change anything. And these things or characteristics are very important once you apply it to something called money, right? When I talked about, for instance, your fee, having fees, what if you can transfer money now, let's just say $1 million, instead of transferring for $1,000, you can transfer $1 million with just a few pennies. What if you can do that not only in a matter of days, but you can do that in a matter of seconds? Not only do that, you can be assured that you can trust that transaction or trust that somebody received it on the other end. And that's the power of cryptocurrencies. Right? Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, right? In 2009, he launched this Bitcoin network out in the world, right? And what he did is he launched something as a computer software, right? Open source computer software. And it's known as a monetary system, a trusted monetary system, right? Now, with this monetary system, it's just like fiat. Fiat is a part of a monetary system, whether it's the US, whether it's another different country. That system allows you to move a asset or money or data or any of these things between this blockchain. And with this blockchain now, it's run by computers, for instance, right? And when it's run by computers now, you're saying, okay, well, if it's run by computers, am I now going to be trusting these computers? Well, the thing is, when it was programmed in the very beginning, it's like, for instance, making a hard code and saying, hey, this code can never be changed ever in the future. And that's one of the things about Bitcoin, where it's not like, for instance, fiat, which can be print off in terms of indefinitely. That's why we have inflation. That's why, I mean, deflation of the dollar. That's why we have inflation of goods. When it comes to, of course, Bitcoin, it's finite. Only 21 million of these particular coins will ever exist. That's like saying only $1 trillion will ever exist in the entire market. That's it. You're going to have to fight over that $1 trillion, and that's it. We can't print any more money ever.
So our problem with this is that we can print it as much as we want to, as often as we want to.
Absolutely.
And that creates inflation because we got more dollars and less goods. So we got more dollars chasing less goods.
Correct.
And Bitcoin, because of the form of execution, won't allow that to happen.
Won't allow that to happen. Right. So, for instance, right now, right, you know, like so I said, this is just a succession of money. Right now, this is very insecure. I can photocopy this. I can put this inside of a nice little graphics program, and you know,
it's called counterfeit or something.
Counterfeit. I can counterfeit this. It's heavy. Once I start getting a lot, those are the characteristics of money that we need to now get.
Paper money.
Paper money. Now, a lot of people like to have and hold on to their paper money because it feels good. And it feels good.
It feels good. Flashy, you know. I got the nut. You know, I'm the man.
I'm the man.
I'm the man. Yeah.
But guess what? I can still flash my bank account and still say I'm the man, right? At the same time.
So no, that don't get you to come on, man, with a bank account. You know,
I think I can flash $1 million in my bank account to get the same reaction. Then, well, true. Right, but at the same time, that's what I'm saying.
You gotta roll out the nut, man. You know that.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, you're saying in terms of your jewelry, you can only wear so much. You can only rock so much. But then you have risk with a lot of those things. Right? You have risk. So we talk about the risk. We talk about you counterfeit money, and then the off, you know, thing of that is the risk. Other things in terms of money, in terms of you being cut off by money, in terms of the government, right? When we talk about Bitcoin and we talk about cryptocurrencies and what does it allow us to do now, it allows you to control your own money in a way that's never been done before.
Explain that. What does that mean, control? Because I think when I put this in my pocket, I'm controlling the whole board.
Correct. But like I said, you're forgetting about the risk.
Okay.
Because with that same money that you're putting in your pocket, when you walk outside, you may risk getting robbed. That's just
high probability today.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's a problem. And we need to move away from that. Okay. When it comes to, of course, digital money at the same time can still also be counterfeited. Yes. There is a lot of centralized, for instance, banking institution that can just make up the numbers or make up money that they have, and they really do not have it. Right. And we've seen this all the time. And this is why a lot of companies may have gotten fined in the past, or schemes, or different things like that, you know. But when it comes to cryptocurrency, it's very hard to counterfeit it because of encryption, right?
What does that mean?
Encryption, right? That, you know.
I got some numbers on this one here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's just a number. When we talk about computer, you know, this is when we start getting a little bit more technical in terms of how it works. But know that it's absolutely secure. When you, for instance, secure your email account, you're putting in a password. And that password is then, you know, mixed up and jumbled up and everything like that when it's sent out, so nobody else can see what that password is. And that's encryption. Right? It's a secure way to send that password. On one hand, you've made a very secure password. It may have been 10, right? It wasn't, your password wasn't password. or something very simple. It was very something very complicated. And with that, those two things together made it a very secure email password for only you to get into, and only you. So when it comes to money, for instance, somebody can reach into your pocket and spend your money. Somebody can go into your bank account and spend your money. Get your debit card and spend your money. How do you avoid these things? With cryptocurrency, for instance, in terms of how it works, right? You have something that's called a public, for instance, address or a key, or think of it like your account, your bank account. You will give anybody your bank account number. Hey, send me it to my bank account, right? But behind the scenes, you have something that's called, for instance, a private key, which is it locks down, for instance, your Bitcoin in a particular wallet. So with your wallet, only you hold that key. If you don't spend or send out that Bitcoin, then it's not going anywhere. Nobody can duplicate it because of the way that it was created. It solved this one problem, for instance. I'm getting a little bit technical. I'm sorry. This is who I am.
No, that's okay.
It
This is the
solved.
beginning of a series of conversations.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
All right. So it solved the problem, which is known as the double spin problem, in terms of digital money. Like I said, in terms of real money, you can copy it. In terms of digital money, you can possibly copy that too. But what happened is that, for instance, how do I know, for instance, if I want to buy something, right? And I say I give you $10 and you have to give me $5 back. I don't care how you gave me the $5. You can give me 5 singles, you can give me a $5 bill. I don't really care. Or I don't care if I say, hey, this is my $10 bill and give you the exact same $10 bill back. But when it comes to digital money, you can possibly copy. Have you ever copied an image online and sent it to somebody? Copied an email and sent it to somebody? It's very easy. So how are you going to trust this digital money? And that's one of the things and one of the fears there, because I feel like people are going to just take my money, or is it just going to be copied? No, it solved that problem. It solved that problem in allowing that, they said, in that finite way on this blockchain. And every single coin and transaction is recorded on this particular blockchain. Now, how do I describe the blockchain, for instance, right? Think of it as, for instance, your account ledger from your bank month to month. You have a list of transactions, and then you go to the next month. But what if, for instance, if you didn't log into your bank account and check your transactions from last month? For somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, this might not be a problem. Let's just say you're a person who's a millionaire, right? You might not be checking the 100 transactions that's going through your account. But that one transaction may be taken out or edited or in some kind of way, or something that you didn't know. But because of this blockchain technology, that won't happen. The reason why I say that is, for instance, with these month to month, what if after that 1 month, all of those transactions is just bundled up and packaged together, set up with a password, and then you go on to the next month. And in order to erase or edit that 1 month, you would have to go back to each transaction one by one just to get to that transaction. And something like that is very hard or complicated with this blockchain technology, right? And with this blockchain technology, it's the future. It's the future of money, but not only future of money, it's the future of technology itself. And that's the reason why a lot of people have this confused, because they're thinking it's only about money. It's only about getting rich. They're not understanding, like I said from the very beginning, it's a monetary tool. It talks about, Satoshi Nakamoto, in his paper, he didn't say this was the new money, new monetary system. When you find a way to tap into a system, then you will understand money or how to get rich. With the money that you have right now, for instance, if you want to get rich right now, you can get rich with $3 bills. All I need to do is take these couple dollars and give it to a friend who said he can flip it for me. But if my friend runs away with my money, then he probably scammed me. Now, do I call the dollar bill a scam? Or do I call him a scam? And right now, that's the problem with cryptocurrencies because everybody thinks that cryptocurrencies is a scam. It's not going anywhere. It's going to change the face of the earth in
Why do you
more
think that?
ways than one.
Why do you think that?
Well, that's why, like I said, well, I'll have to get a little bit more technical in terms of
That's okay.
cryptocurrency, in terms of blockchain. And this, for instance, Jamie, down here of Chase, right? Right now, you're hearing a whole lot that's going on with Chase, the banking, a lot of things, right? So, right, back in the days, like, Bitcoin's a scam and, all this kind of different stuff. But, I did some videos about this on my channel and everything. And I said, like, listen, some of these banks are some of the biggest patent holders in this technology that people just do not know.
And they're not talking about it.
And they're not talking about it at all.
And the reason is because if everybody goes this way, they may have to disappear.
Because they're all gonna get rich. We all gonna get rich, right? I guess, right? The thing is this, right? Well, like I said, when it comes to those things, like the diamond or the way that they're talking about blockchain technology, I have to give you an analogy that you might understand. For instance, right? If I talk about why it's going to revolutionize, it's because of this one word that's called decentralization. Decentralization is just going around versus centralization. We want self-sovereignty. We want to be decentralized. We want to call our own shots. We don't want everybody in our business, things of that nature. When I say decentralization, centralization, for instance, with a bank, that's centralized. They do what they want, how they want it. If you, for instance, try to shut down their big central servers, the whole banking system goes down, all right? In this decentralized now way or market, it's a way that everybody can now participate. And with that, for instance, in this decentralized way versus centralized way, that server, for instance, this ledger, it's pretty much a glorified word for a server. Something that you store information on. So the way that you now store this information is a little bit more secure than centralized ways. It's now distributed through multiple parties now instead of just one centralized place, which gives some benefits. For instance, with Bitcoin, the reason why the network is so strong or it's been going on so long is because you have more people getting involved. That's how I started. I started as a Bitcoin miner. And I started off Bitcoin miner. So what I did is I mined Bitcoin. So for instance, let's talk about how Bitcoins are created. How is money created? That's why I said people need to understand money itself. I need to understand how and what it is and how it works. Money, for instance, is printed. Ink, papers, it's printed, right? The US government, for instance, any government out there in the world, they say, hey, it's a central bank. If you want to print some money, put it out there. And they put it out there in the system. With cryptocurrencies and the way that it's put out there, it's mined, right? For instance, if you say gold, it might be mined from the earth, right? That's how you have to extract that particular gold. So how do you extract this Bitcoin? The process pretty much works like this. If I want to send a transaction from me to you right now, for instance, let's say a debit card, that has to go through a banking system, for instance, right? And it goes through a central server at wherever that particular bank is, and they record that transaction. Now, because of Bitcoin, and anybody can have this particular server or a computer, for instance, when I send a transaction between me and you, instead of it going to a bank, it goes to one random person out there who is holding a computer. Now, for that person using that computer and lending their time to process that transaction from anybody in the world, they're given a little piece of reward as a thank you. And that's new Bitcoin, which is issued out into the ecosystem. Like I said, there's only a particular amount of Bitcoins that would ever exist. And there's only about 19 million or so that's in circulation right now. We still have another, few million to go. And that's going to take about 100 years or so to go through the rest. Okay, so we have a long time to get there, right? So, like I said, with a Bitcoin miner, right, they're the ones that update this particular ledger, this blockchain ledger, right? That process, and then in terms of that transaction, it goes to that particular person, or in terms of that computer, it processes that particular transaction to verify that I have the funds, right? And I am who I am, and my private key matches my, for instance, my public wallet address. And it says, okay, sure, and I'm going to send it to you. And that person records it and locks it in. And it goes on to the next transaction until all of that block is filled. So that's pretty much how Bitcoin is pretty much put back into the system. So for me, for instance, what I was teaching on my channel, I was showing people that at small apartment, hey, listen, you can use your electricity and become a Bitcoin miner, contribute to the network. The more people that contribute, the stronger this network is going to get. The reason why I say the stronger it's going to get is, for instance, one central bank server, you can probably destroy that. They may have one or two, and that's it. You compromise that one or two servers, that's it. For instance, with cryptocurrency, and because everybody can have these computers, you would have to shut down all of us at the exact same time all over the world. And that's what makes it very hard to do. And as more people join this network, it gets stronger as more people you'll have to take down. And this is one of the reasons why it's been getting stronger all over these past years. Now, when it comes to new issuance out in the world, like I said, as a Bitcoin miner, when I was mining these cryptocurrencies, what you can do is you can then put it back in the ecosystem. So you can put it on an exchange. How do you get these Bitcoins, right? You can go to an exchange and exchange your money for this particular Bitcoin. Now, I describe it this way. When you go to a foreign country, you have to go to a foreign exchange booth and trade your dollars for whatever that local currency is, correct? If this is internet money, right? Then you will need to go to an online exchange and just exchange it. If you're to use this internet money, right, on the internet. So that's how, for instance, somebody who is mining this Bitcoin would get this new Bitcoin, put it onto an exchange, and now you will then go and buy, for instance, or exchange for that Bitcoin. Now you have it. That's one way to get it. Or somebody can send it to you directly and you now have it in your possession, or you can earn it, for instance. Once you have it in your possession, then you can do whatever you want with it, just like regular money. You can go out and spend it or just hold it. If you hold it, because of the finite nature right now, that's why we're seeing so much volatility. That's why we're thinking that it's all about getting rich, because you see so many people getting rich once the volatility of it or the price of one coin goes all the way up. And that's why people think they're going to get rich. That's because you have to be in the know and get in at the right moment. If you're not doing that, like I said, and you're just trying to understand money, understand, for instance, how does it work, then you need to understand the value and understand what this volatility means. Right now, the market is very small. The cryptocurrency market itself, compared as an asset class, it's very small. It's only about $1 trillion. I know companies that have more money than the entire cryptocurrency market. So when you see fluctuations with cryptocurrencies or you see fluctuations with Bitcoin, that should be expected because it's not a lot of money. One billionaire can shift the tide.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've seen this over and over again.
I see it in my
every day. Just like with stocks.
Yeah.
The only thing with stocks is a little bit more regulated. Right? So because of that regulation, you don't have the, and it's much more mature. There's a lot more money involved in it. When you compare, for instance, of course, cryptocurrencies to, for instance, any other asset class, or, you know, you're talking about trillions of dollars in comparison. So this is the reason why it's going to still take some time for it to level off and that volatility to level off. But those who are playing to that volatility, they're making some money. Just like with these dollars, if this was more volatile, people would be making a whole lot more money. But you know who's making money with this, even still to this day, are those who are trading like Forex, for instance, or off the foreign exchange, or just trading off of the dollar, for instance. When it goes up from $1 to 101 or 99 cents, me, who has $1,000, I'm not going to really make a lot of money on that. But somebody who's a millionaire or billionaire, they're trading off of that 1 cent shift. And they're making a whole lot of money. This is one of the reasons why, for instance, with Forex is just one glorified thing where everybody feels that they can get richer and they realize they really can't. Because you're going to have to put a whole lot of money into this game. When it comes to this market in terms of cryptocurrency, like I said, it's still small. Still, it's going to take time to mature. And that's why you need to educate yourself now, because it's not about right now and getting rich right now. It's about educating yourself on this technology. How is it going to benefit our daily lives? How is it going to transform? Because it's not only about money, it's also about monetizing in terms of data, in terms of assets, in terms of technology, in terms of the technology improving because of this blockchain technology. You know, you have so many things out there, for instance, terminologies like Internet of Things, IoT, the smart thermostat, right? Smart refrigerator, and, you know, all of these different things. You know, your iRobot, you know, you have your, you know, everything in terms of a little small robot dog, and, you know, you have more complicated robotics, AI, all of these things that's going to be coming out and going to be mainstream. And the way or the reason why these things are going to be mainstream is because of this technology. And that's what people are not picking up.
Well, it's going to be difficult, though, for a group of individuals who historically have believed that their destiny is controlled by the largesse and the goodwill of others. So what is going to change Black people's mind about entering into this new arena of capitalism? How
Well,
do you do that? You call it Black crypto?
Yeah,
What's
you
Black
know,
about this?
You know, with me and calling myself Black Widow is because I wanted to be a great example, you know, and I wanted to show people what you can do and what you could do with this cryptocurrency. And then start learning this technology. Like, for instance, with me, and I can say this boldly, I'll be rich for the rest of my entire life because of cryptocurrency. It's not because I have $1 million today. It's because I know how to get $1 million.
Oh, that's different then. So you're defining rich not by having it, but knowing that you can always get it.
The reason why I say that is because just understanding money, assets, all of these things are changing. What you thought was flashy, what you thought was cool, and what you thought is no longer going to be. When you thought, for instance, your $1,000, your $100,000 was saying something, they ain't gonna be saying nothing in another year or 2 years. And if you do not know how to get money, you're going to be left out. Because the way that you think you're going to be rich or you're getting money now is not going to be the game in the future, is what I'm trying to say. So of course, you know, it matters if you have $1 million today. You better try to have $1 million today. You better try to be rich today. Yes, absolutely. But we've also found that in doing that, especially in the Black community and trying to get rich, we've been doing it in a wrong way. For instance, savings.
That's not the way to get rich. You don't save your money.
No, absolutely not. Hell no. Why are you going to save your money? Because you're putting your money already into a bank that's taking your money and letting it out to everybody else. And you're not getting paid on that interest at all. You're, you know, this is a conversation that I get into a lot about, you know, in terms of, like, again, you have to put your money to work.
So saving money
is not putting your money to
is
work.
not putting your money to work.
No, that's you having a rainy day fund and hoping
that you never have to use.
So you're not using it.
And when it comes time to use it, it might not be enough.
Might not be, exactly. So that's why I said in another few years, when you think you had a lot, you really do not.
Yeah.
And when you could have put that money to use by knowing how to get more of it.
But that's too risky.
It's too risky.
Yeah. So, a bird in the hand is worth 5 in the bush.
Sometimes you have to take risks, and that's one thing that the Black community does not do.
So taking risks is just a natural behavior, one of the ingredients for long-term survival.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know, we've been taught to believe, hold on to it. You got it right now.
Nope.
And once you got it, ain't nobody take it away from it. But what you're saying is you can have it, but as things change in the marketplace, its value begins to reduce. And what you used to be able to buy with $5 in 1945. You
You
can't
need
buy
$20.
$105 now.
Right, you need $30. I mean, we seeing that right now. Just
Just
gas.
milk.
I mean, gas, just gas, some milk, or things of that nature, right? I mean, just in the past, I want to say 3 to 6 months, and going to the grocery store, you could have seen the prices increase a lot. Something that was $1 is now $1.25, and it's only going to get worse. But you're still
How does
earning the
crypto-
same thing.
How does crypto deal with that?
Well, when it comes to you, in terms of how you make money, right?
Oh,
Or how you make money with cryptocurrencies, right? There are a few ways to make money with cryptocurrency. Basically, you can trade, like I said, off of the volatility and make money every single day if you're a trader.
yeah.
If you're not a trader, that's why I stay away from it. I'm not a professional trader. I didn't come in this as a professional trader. That's why I don't trade every single day. I mean, you can lose a lot of money that way, or you have to put in a lot of time and effort to watch something like that. You can earn it, like I said, as a business owner. Change your mindset in terms of how you're getting money or how you're getting crypto. Instead of trying to get rich, why don't you start up your own business and earn that cryptocurrency as a form of payment to your actual business? In that way, if you're thinking that you're going to get rich off of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies because the value is going to go up, well, as a business owner, you're now twofold. You're a business owner in crypto, and you own crypto as the value now starts to go up. As you know, with that volatility, like I'm saying, of course, once the price goes up, you can cash out at that time. Or you can hold on to it and continue to use it online or in any other fashion that you want. You can cash it out into real dollars. Yes, you can, back and forth. A few years ago, this was a little bit more difficult. Now it's getting a whole lot more easier. Back in the day, it was all about that scam, hackers, dark web, all this kind of stuff. Even still to this day, even with myself and my challenge and speaking to people every day, I'm still getting a lot of challenges where people think it's still a scam every day. But once you are understanding or educating yourself, first off, you have to ask yourself, if something is a scam, why is the government trying to do it? Why is banks trying to do it? Why is the biggest retailers in the world fighting on when and how they're going to accept it? That same fear, that same scares in terms of us not willing to take a risk is one of the reasons that we're not included. We're not a part of that 1% because we won't be willing to risk what it takes to get there. When it comes to cryptocurrency, I know a lot of people that say they won't touch it because it's illegal. It's not illegal. It's unregulated.
What's the difference?
Illegal means that they have defined it as illegal activity.
They meaning the government?
The government or some kind of governing body. Unregulated means that it has not been defined
By the government body as to what
by
the
that governing
regulations
body,
are.
what it is. So for instance, I know a lot of people that say, hey, listen, you want to get, no, it's not on the start, it's not. Is that why you're not getting involved with it? Listen, I'll get involved with every single thing that's unregulated. Why not? Because the people who got involved with it early on, they weren't crying whether or not it was illegal or unregulated. Even to this day. Even to now, you still do not hear anything about a whole lot in terms of illegal, in terms of its use. You hear about people using it in illegal ways, right? Not
Always.
itself.
That goes for this also.
That goes for that also. But what happens is because it's new, the story is a little bit more sensationalized right now. That's why it's more fear.
Well, I had fear until we had the big conference here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at the character of the individuals from all over these United States and this country coming to this conference, people that I knew just based on what they were doing and their own personal worth with this, they were saying that this is the way of the future. And then I said to my son that this is what we've got to be involved in. So a lot of times we may think it is bad. But when we see people who should know more than we know about what it has been done, then it ought to send a message to us that if that person over there is doing it, clearly it makes sense for me to look into it going forward. And we allow our ignorance and our fears too often to keep us from doing things that everybody else does. And when they go ahead and do it, after it's all over, we say it's racism.
Yeah, I mean, us as a group, black, right, or minority, or underrepresented, once again, it has to do with education, being properly educated on something. You were talking about something in terms of how you were exposed to that conference. A lot of people are not exposed to those examples or to see those examples, you know. And that's why we need to find or have a source that we can go to get these answers. For instance, like my site, I have Bitcoin Made Simple, bitcoinmadesimple.com, where you can learn the basics of Bitcoin. Bitcoin Made Simple.com.
BitcoinMadeSimple.com.
Very simple.
Which is something that everybody that's interested in quote unquote evaporating the lines of poverty in our community needs to begin to look at all of these opportunities that are there.
Right. But not only look at opportunities, but understand it from a basic level, right? The reason why I also keep on saying learning from a basic, because I can give an example. I can give many examples. I did some conferences back in the day and some presentations to say a few years ago, back in 2019, I had a group that wanted to learn about a particular coin. Now, the problem was I was telling them that, hey, you needed to learn about, for instance, Bitcoin first, and maybe Ethereum, which is another type of coin, right? It's an altcoin, right? An alternate to Bitcoin. So you need to learn about this Ethereum, right? No, we don't want to learn about this Ethereum. The problem is that this particular coin was made because of this Ethereum.
But I want a Cadillac, man. You telling me go to a Maserati?
Yeah, but guess what? When it all fell, or when you have nothing, or you don't know how to move it, or what oil to put in, or what gas to put in, because you just wanted it. That's the problem. You never educated yourself, for instance, on a Ferrari, that you're going to have to pay how much for those brakes and how often you're going to have to get it maintained. People are not thinking about those things, but if they learn the basics of it first before they get in it to try to drive it, they probably will realize they don't want to drive it, or they'll take a little bit more time to understand first. And
so we get caught up in the bright lights and the glitter.
Absolutely.
Won't do the research.
Absolutely.
Won't take the time. Won't do the due diligence.
Correct.
To make sure that what we're doing is what we should be doing.
Correct.
And if other folks ain't doing it, it doesn't make any sense. I got to do what's best for me in this whole process. How do we create that mindset? Because you and I know the value of creating wealth.
Yeah.
We know that, whether it's this or a Bitcoin. And part of the problem in my community is that we keep talking about what they won't let us do. And as we keep talking about it, nothing happens in our community.
That's another thing that rubs me the wrong way, because I'm a person that when you tell me to go left, I'm going right. Tell me to go up, I'm going down. You have to be willing to go against the grain. You have to be willing to educate yourself and go against the grain. When I say go against the grain,
you don't work with the private people. You go against the grain, you get punished. You go against the grain, you get ostracized. And we are caught up in making sure that we don't want to be punished, and certainly we don't want to be ostracized. That's why all of us.
Once again, you're throwing out fear. Because once again, I'm not concerned about that fear if I am doing something that I know is right or is correct.
Okay.
For instance, once again, we go back to that illegal versus unregulated.
Okay.
If I'm doing something, I'm going left, I'm going right, as long as it's not illegal, I'm still hitting it. Because, for instance, your decision on me going that direction is wrong. It has nothing to do with it being the right thing to do or not, or illegal or not.
So we got
I
to
just
be
feel as if
grounded
my
ourselves.
path or the path that I think I should go might get me to where I need to go faster.
So it's about an individual decision.
Correct.
That's what's best for me.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to be bound by what other folks think about me as a member of a group. Too often, when these kinds of opportunities come along, we know that it makes sense, but we don't want to go on the block and say, "Oh, you just trying to be white. You just trying to be
You're
like your
trying to
brother."
go out to a group or
Yeah,
appeal
yeah,
to
yeah,
a group.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know,
Mhm.
and people who are wealthy decide that this is what I'm going to do. And selfishly, I think it's in my best interest. If you don't understand it, then come on over and I'll educate you about it. But I'm not going to wait on you to be educated. I'm going to go on and do it. And what happens with this kind of movement, cryptocurrency, is that we don't have these kinds of conversations amongst ourselves. We allow other folks who benefit from us not understanding this to put the boogeyman in this,
Mhm. To direct or
to
to tell the
direct us,
story.
to tell the story and keep us where we are.
Mhm.
And while we are staying where we are, they are going on where they know everybody is going to be.
Correct.
So they tell me to stay in the bank,
Mhm.
keep depositing my money in the bank.
Correct.
But the stockholders
Mhm.
also got money in the bank and also in crypto.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, their hands are dirty with it, you know?
But they don't tell us about
But
that.
they don't know. What they tell you is, to stay away from it.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
listen, what I'm saying is this, like, for instance, like the media, right? If they're saying something, generally speaking, it already passed. You're already probably too late.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why you have to find this information out for yourself and act on it yourself, or try to, like I said, for instance, with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and myself, right? Why I'll be rich forever. This is an expression to say that because I learned the basics, I learned how Bitcoin works. I learned how to create this Bitcoin. It's like me saying to you right now, you know how to print money yourself. Now, if I want to get in the business of printing this money, I'll open up a bigger mining facility. If I want to get into the banking system with this cryptocurrency, I maybe get some ATM machines, crypto ATMs. Or I might start my own company of an exchange, and now I have my own little credit union. All of these things are possible because of that cryptocurrency if you learn what it is and how it's used, and then create something for it as an on-ramp to start building more business and including more. Now, if you start appealing, of course, to your people or your customers, or for instance, like the community or Black community, then that will start to help us and enrich us, right? But in any event, when it comes to us now controlling money, or how is it going to benefit us? Because I said it's programmable money. It's now a way to get this particular money a lot easier, a lot faster. And we're going to do that maybe some other time when we start talking a little bit more. I'm going to show you how easy it is to transfer this money and how we can maybe transform some things live right here. But because of that, that's what's going to help us in the future. That's what's going to help our community as a future, us allowing us to raise money as a community and then put that money to work in multiple different ways. Right now, it's very linear, in and out, the bank and the middleman. Once you have this programmable money or this Bitcoin, you're going to find out that you can do so many different things. You can monetize so many different things and build upon this. Imagine as a community, for instance, like I said, even just with a home, imagine that you with your home, you can start renting out your home and different things inside your home, you can start getting paid because of those things. Your smart devices, you can start turning that into a business itself. You can start building a whole community, because if you start building your own coins or NFTs that's out there right now, these non-fungible tokens that's out there right now, you can build these for your own community. Give your own community this access and build that value within that one community. Now, the problem is, of course, with us is just that we have a lot of people that have this money. It's just a lot of people are just not putting that money to use or being risk takers
That's the
with
word.
that money.
It's the risk takers because we worked so hard to get it. And therefore, we work very hard to keep it. And for you to come along and tell me to give away some of the money that I worked so hard to get, it's very difficult for me to buy into that.
Mhm.
But we know in our village that part of the solution is the creation and the sustainment of wealth. That when we have people of wealth in our village, then they begin to set a new standard of life.
Mhm.
That risk taking is risk taking for your benefit, not for others.
Mm.
And I think we've got to continue this kind of conversation about what's important. So I want to make sure that at least once every other month, we continue to have this conversation
Mhm.
because nobody is having this conversation. In
What
our
you just said is the great wealth transfer that's going to be happening.
Yeah, and nobody's having this conversation. We just sit back complaining about inflation, and the world is coming to an end, and what they're going to do, and my check is not on time, and the grocery bill is going up, and the light bill is getting higher. And in the meantime, the folks around us who understand all of these dynamics and are preparing how to manage them and not impact negatively on their part of life. So I don't think that we can talk about this too
No,
much.
no. We'll be talking for a long time. They don't really know. We'll be talking
I'm a
forever.
Bitcoin owner.
Right. I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
actually have those new shirts out right now. I mean, if anybody want to go ahead and pick up one of those, you
You
know.
need one of the Bitcoin shirts, come by and see me. I'll get your Man Up shirt. Once again, I came to town, I was a poor little country boy. I got so poor one day I had to borrow lunch money from my good friend Bill Williams. But now I'm a proud owner of this thing called Bitcoin, my son and my grandson. So we believe that our wealth is controlled by our decisions,
Mhm.
that we can be as rich as we want to be. We don't worry about being famous, but we do worry about making sure that we can do what we want to do, when we want to do it, to whom we want to do it. And we know we can do that because we got Bitcoin in our portfolio. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. And thank you, my brother, for coming in with me. Looking forward to having you again.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Appreciate you.
See, the conversation that doesn't want to be validated is, we fought for centuries to be accepted in a land that never valued us, but allowed us. You used our gifts and talents and made a mockery of us, but never developed us. Community unity was labeled as terrorist schools, successfully infiltrated and ultimately dismantled by COINTELPRO. As a people, we endured abuse, sexual assault. We were taken away from our families, we were lynched, and most importantly, stripped away from our spirituality. We were given an identity and a name that didn't represent who we were. Through all the years of trauma, we still rise. We push through the educational barriers that was not afforded to us. See, they don't understand there's no stopping our progress. Despite we got to keep going. Through the police brutality, through the broken system that incarcerated people of color at a higher rate than any other race. We got to keep going. My kings and queens, look at us. They can't stop our progress.
We've been tested and rested and stamped on for most of our life. Been beaten, mistreated, and murdered, unjustified. Black men, keep going.
Keep going, keep growing,